but that was only 5 steps. That's true. At the end of the day, as things wind down and the last customer is rung up and your day is over, right? Wrong. Now we need to do what I lovingly refer to as the post-mortem, which roughly translated means after death. The day is over, the event is over. Now we need to decide what worked and what didn't. How much did we make? What was the revenue? What was the cost? Was the day a success? Was the event a success? Okay, what worked? Well, I look at my advertising and I say, okay, remember we put out those flyers and we put out the door hangers and we did valve packs and we did TV advertising and we did radio and we did print advertising. We did all those, and each one of them has a unique tracking device built with it. With each of the ones that were delivered to someone's home, they had a place for them to put down 2 pieces of information, bring it back, and that had a value in exchange. Maybe it was an additional discount, maybe it was, 3 candy bars, it had a value. So the ones that brought those back, okay, you gathered 3 pieces of information you probably didn't even realize you were gathering. The obvious one is you got their name and their email address. You now have a way to contact them. They just became part of your customer list. Okay, that's the first thing. The second thing that you gathered as information was you now know what your cost of customer acquisition was. They brought that back. You know you put out so many door hangers, and if you got so many door hangers back, you know that the cost to put all the door hangers was X amount, and you know if you got this many back, if you got 30% of them back, then you could take that number and divide it into the total cost, and you've got the cost of customer acquisition for that approach. You can also do the same thing for flyers and for Valpak or coupon clipper or whatever it's called. You can also do the same thing with radio ads. Now wait a minute, Joel, how do I do it with radio ads? Well, in the radio ad you say mention this for a additional 5% off of your first item. Okay, the mention this is a code. The code is the same for everybody that gets the radio ad, but it's a code. So if they mention that, each location where you're doing transactions, they have a list and they just tick it off that happened, that happened, that happened. And you add all of those up, and then it tells you how many you got from the radio. And the same thing for television and print ads. You take that number and again divide it into the cost and decide what worked and what didn't work in your advertising. Now, there's other things where you apply what worked and what didn't. Example, placement of the items. Oh, well, we're having a sale. We put all the sale items up in the front. Okay. What we decided after we did that was we realized that nobody went to the back of the store where all the other stuff was. They only stuck right up there in the front, gathered that stuff up, hit the registers, and they were gone. So we didn't get the effect we wanted. Well, in a way we did, because we moved merchandise, and we had profit in even that merchandise, and so we were able to generate additional dollars. But at the same time, what if we had put that in the back of the store? Then they would have had to pass through. And that's where they pick up that second, third, fourth, fifth purchase item. And that's what we were looking for, is to move them through the store, make sure that we circulate them around. So they, items that are sale items are not all in one place, even if they're at the back of the store. We make them move around the store to find them, because as they're finding them, they will inevitably find additional items that they really wanted. And because they're getting some kind of a discount on those items, they'll pick them up. Okay, now, counting the revenue. We need to know how much we took in. Now, your employees don't necessarily need to know how much you took in, but you need to know how much you took in. You also need to be able to count the cost. How much did it cost me in employees? How much did it cost? Above and beyond my normal operating expenses, what costs did I have? So that I can say, this was my margin on everything, and this is my cost to collect that money, and then I can determine from that whether or not I had a success. Now, I define success 3 ways. The first level of success was I covered my cost. So what I sold was enough to cover my cost. That in and of itself is a success on a level. And the reason it's a success on a level is because that success says I also gathered up a whole lot of new information on new potential long-term relationship customers who I can get back to directly. I have now got a new and well-defined targeted audience. One of the few times that I can truly say that's a true targeted list. Okay, I also have a second tier of success. That second tier of success is, if you remember back at the very beginning of our session today, I talked about how much do you want to make? What would you consider a success? Okay, I take that dollar figure and I compare it to the dollar figure after I've backed out the revenue figure, after I've taken it back, figured out what my gross margin is, and taken out all of the additional costs involved. And if that number meets that expectation number, hey, I got a major success here. But that's not the biggest success. I believe that there is a success level so far beyond that, that it's like having Christmas, the 4th of July, New Year's Eve, all the big holidays, your birthday, all at the same time, with fireworks and champagne and sodas and you name it, birthday cake, is when your success is you've done well beyond what you ever anticipated. That's big success. It's also the most dangerous success. Do not ever assume that because you did it once that it'll repeat each time you do it. Because here's what happens. There's a seduction that goes with special events. The seduction is anytime you want to have a special event, you just have one. It doesn't work that way. They stop being special. And more importantly, your return on the cost drops. Your profit at the end of the day will drop each time you repeat. So, special events need to be just that, special. One-time special events. With that, I'm going to close for this one. So, until next time, good hunting.